let's move into the hybrids. So the hybrids, top 5 GolfWRX Members Choice Voting for 2025. Brian is here with us again from GolfWRX to go through those. And we have a runaway winner here, and I believe this was actually the same as a couple years ago with Ping. So number 1 is Ping G440, and astounding almost 42% of the vote in this category, which I believe is the biggest number in all of the voting. You'll have to correct me if that's wrong. But then we have Titleist GT2, TaylorMade Qi35 Rescue, Cobra DS Adapt, and Cobra King Tech actually rounding out that top 5. So let's talk hybrids here, Brian. Ping G440, they seem to have this category kind of unlocked there at Ping.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, G430 was an absolute dominant one as well. I'd have to go back to my editor and ask him for the previous year in terms of results to see the percentage, because I don't know if it was as big, but it definitely was, kind of a runaway as well. But again, Ping, I think with hybrids has really just kind of figured out a good recipe. And I think part of what they did with the design in this year was making the, low lofts, like the 2s, the 3s, making them a little bit more neutral bias, making the heads a touch smaller, making them a little bit more kind of player focused, and then just packing that forgiveness into the higher lofted fairways, I think is great, because I think they're kind of matching up. The player who's going to play a 2 hybrid is probably not an 18 or 20 handicap player. They're probably going to move to a fairway, a high lofted fairway, because of the forgiveness, the launch, all that. So why not focus these around the players who are probably going to play them? And I think that makes Ping, the G440 so highly sought after, because no matter what your skill level is and where you're going to position this in the bag, what it's going to replace, anything like that, you're going to find a great complement to whatever you're replacing. If you're just taking out a 5 iron, hey, the 5 hybrid is really good, or, whatever number it's going to be to replace it. And just like before, easy to launch. They have kind of a shallow face, so hitting them off the turf is just effortless. They go into the greens with a super high peak height. They land soft. You can kind of have good distance control with them. And yeah, they just perform. And like I said, I think that transition from low lofts to high lofts was just a solid move by Ping, especially if you're only going to have one hybrid in the line. Some other companies, they'll have 2 different models. So you'll have kind of a max and a regular. With Ping only having one, I think they just did it smart. And I think a lot of golfers are then finding just an easy spot to get it into the bag and finding a lot of success hitting them into the green. So not shocked it was number 1. I am shocked that, like you said, 42% of the vote is just crazy to see that the next best one was 17%. I mean, that's a huge jump. But the GT2, again, that thing is I think underrated. I think Titleist, known for drivers, known for fairways. I think if you look at the kind of the GT2 hybrid, it is a really stable, really forgiving head that people maybe think is a little more player focused than it really is. It is very stable. It's one of the ones that goes in my bag fairly regularly. I love how easy it is to hit. It's not too draw bias. You don't have to worry about the left, and it has, of course, the movable weights and the hosel that you can kind of dial it in and make it more neutral, but a really good shape, all that. Again, TaylorMade here, the Qi35, and I think we were all interestingly enough, watching TaylorMade a little bit in this space, because they went from 3 hybrids now to 2 this year. And before, you had kind of a tour rescue, a regular rescue, and then a max rescue. And they kind of combined the tour and the regular into just the standard Qi35 rescue. And I think it was a smart move. I think for the player who's going to play a hybrid there, it's got a good enough look. It's still not too big. It's still pretty compact, but it's not too small like the tour was, where it would kind of intimidate some players, especially like in the 3 or maybe above. This thing here, it looks good. It's easy to hit. It's got great sound to it. And I like that silver carbon on the top, just me personally. I think it looks really sharp from a dress. And then Cobra. Yeah, how about Cobra bringing in both the DS Adapt and the King Tech? I've been a fan of the King Tech since the original one. I thought it was just so underrated. I thought not enough people gave it a shot. The DS Adapt, well, again, I've hit it. I think it's really good. I've heard nothing but great things from people who have put it in the bag. And I think I remember one time I had the King Tech in the bag, and somebody said, "Why aren't you playing the DS Adapt? Like, it's really great." I'm like, "Well, it is really great," but, just kind of testing stuff. But both of those, whether you're just looking for simplicity, something easy to hit, the DS Adapt is there. Super easy, high launch, And then if you're looking for something that's adjustable that you can kind of really dial in, I mean, the King Tech there with Future Fit 33 on the hosel, I mean, it's a fitter's dream between the movable weights and that. You can take any player that walks into your bay and really get them to, if you need to hit more of a fade or you need to draw it or you need to hit it lower or higher, fitters like you guys have can really just narrow that thing in and dial it down to the exact specs that a player needs. And they look good from a dress. When you stare down them in those matte crowns, they got pretty simple shapes. I think they did a really, really nice job with the DS Adapt. And I'm a little shocked to see 2 Cobras on that list. I thought we might get 1, but 2 on there is pretty impressive from Cobra.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between, the members at GolfWRX, right? And these are, the top gear junkies really in the entire sport that are, all about the golf clubs, all about the equipment. And so I think it means something, right? When any brand, let alone Cobra, obviously can get 2 models into the top 5 of a category here with these members' choice voting. And I think that's what is really cool about this, because I think a lot of golfers probably wouldn't think of Cobra compared to, the Titleist and the TaylorMades and the Pings a little bit. But clearly Cobra has a formula that's working with them in the hybrid category. And it's maybe not something that you, the viewer, would have thought of before, seeing these results. But kudos to Cobra for those 2 sneaking into the top 5 there. But as we noted, Ping has that formula kind of dialed in with the hybrids and runs away with number 1 with the Ping G440 Max.